All right, it is February 1st, 2020, Saturday. And getting around 5 o'clock-ish. So I talked with Al and got permission to go through with number 1 cylinder and get her done. From there, she'll go in the box. Got all the intake runners out, and on the this is the number 1 cylinder. All of the flange nuts are off and in a bag, tagged. Which cylinder? So we are loose. We're about to come off. So I was trying to figure out how to get it where you can photograph. You see? We'll see as soon as I start cranking on this and that thing will fall. So I'm going to try to take it off very gently and hopefully won't disturb you in the camera. Alright. Got a little chair here. I'll just set it down. Got to catch the piston so it don't slap or fall down. That piston's over. Alright. So okay, that's the number 1 piston. Rings are free. Talked to the guy at the engine shop. He said this white crystalline thing is normal. But a lot of rust. A lot of rust. Yeah, you just keep taking one layer down so this will all come out. And on the other side, we'll be able to take the connecting rods out. And then the Continental service manual has got to be half a gram between cylinders. The piston, connecting rod, and all out between the two. Feels a little loose. Oh yeah. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We got us a problem. Well, I'm glad we did this, people. Oh my God. It appears that the bushing in the connecting rod is shot along probably with the pin. It should not do this. You should get nothing there's 3/8 of an inch or more, and it's supposed to be thousandths of an inch. Wow, Heavenly Father, thank you. Thank you, thank you. This is all within hours of just blowing up. I mean, just within a few hours. This entire engine is a death trap waiting to happen to the rest of a perfectly good airplane. I've finally got the skag put on. Yeah, a little out of color, but hey, it's covered up right now. It's actually primer, and I'm gonna take it back off and gotta inspect it. And there's some rust and corrosion behind it. So that's all gonna get done. But that's just an epoxy primer that's all sealed up on there. Boy, and I mean, it's on there. Wow. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So there's the inside of it. All the corrosion. And cylinders. A lot of wear. No, actually, I don't feel too bad. I was expecting to feel. All right. On the side, well, good hone job, and that cylinder will be fine. Don't feel too bad. Don't feel anything. Well, it's a little rougher than it is right here, but it's not bad. I mean, it's not. Can't catch your fingernail in it. Well, get all the way in there. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I cannot begin to think how grateful I am that we are doing this level of maintenance. The camera here, trying to see if it's going to focus. I don't look bad. So, well. All right. The good thing about these engines, as opposed to car engines, they never run above, as far as the typically naturally aspirated opposed aircraft engine, is that they never run above 2,700 RPMs. So this little thing can just chug a lug and not really have any problems. But that piston that's a problem. Huge problem. So I'm sure the connecting rod's bad. I'm sure the pin's bad, and probably more likely the piston's bad, but at least the bushing is completely shot. I mean, that's no bueno. No bueno. So we'll get in there and get that piston out and be able to look down inside there. All right. pin's been riding. 16 now. Pretty good carbon. I can feel that. That is on there pretty good actually. Actually, I think this cylinder is actually not that old in the logbook. This particular cylinder. I'm not sure if it's just a jug. I don't believe that that's actually that old. All right, well, where there's one problem, there's more. So they all got to come off. Every one of them. Everything's got to get tore down, parade rest, inspected, repaired, or replaced. So doing all the homework I've been doing in the office, computer, phone calls, traveling around, I'm starting to get a pretty good feeling how this industry works and how this goes. So this is a standard A&P job, all day long, pulling jugs. We're not in any way exceeding our authority or violating any kind of issue. And trust me, Al will be there when this all starts to go back together. My job is to get down to good level or good foundation of parts in which to rebuild everything back on. Well, all the other parts all have to be rebuilt and overhauled in order to have a decent running engine. Can't blame an engine wore out on hours when you haven't taken care of it and done basic maintenance. I mean, how hard was it? Pulled in eight nuts, cracked 8 nuts that weren't even actually properly torqued, and thing just slid off. I mean, it slid off. So the base, I don't see any vibration issues on the flange. A little bit right in here, it looks like. Can't get the camera to do what I want it to do. So all this is going to get a good inspection of the whole flange base area where it went, make sure it's true. There's hasn't been any vibration like loose or something, and it's created a dent, so to speak, which looks kind of like that. Yeah. You know what? And I still have no problem with this other engine. This other engine is a completely different program, completely different. Just everything about this engine is excellent so far. I mean, it just feels right. But this engine is a fight to get it right. You gotta fight for your right to party, right? Yeah. So what I need to do now, get this into the bucket and get everything taken care of, pull the piston and all that, take the base flange seal, and once the piston's off, figure 8 it around the studs, and it holds the connecting rod in place. And then what I need to do is get a template of the flange area, and then because the piston will be off, so it's a piston, it's just a connecting rod. Have a little hole in a plate, like 1/8 inch plate, and then use over here, because so those 3 studs there and the 3 studs that are underneath on this side, not these 2 studs here, the 6 studs over here are studs in the case. These 2 here are not actual studs, they're through bolts. They go through on the other side, and there's a nut and a washer on the other end of it, and you torque both ends together to sandwich the engine case together to keep it the bearing, the connecting, or the crankshaft and the camshaft put together. And what we don't want to do is lose torque or lose tension on the through bolts. The flange studs, no big deal, but I want to put a plate on there just so keep debris from going out and give it an equal foundation. But you really just need a 3/8 plate drilled out and put over the 2 studs, and then torque that plate down. So you want to torque it down to what these cylinder heads are torqued down to. They're supposed to be, actually, what they're and then those 2, the main thing is getting the through bolts on both sides with torque plates together to hold the case together, just like the screw bolts up on top. You squeeze in the case in the center, and you want at least at a minimum these 2 torqued down on the other side. So there's the cylinder. So the cylinder is actually not in its way for this number 1. So the number 1 is through bolt is right here. That's what's on the other side of the case, right? Yeah. So right. So right here is the big through bolt looking stud that comes through, and this is it on the other side, and this is the one down on the bottom. And so actually this is one long bolt threaded on both ends, and I believe has rubber O-ring seals in the middle. I'm not sure. Some I have not seen what these look like yet, but they're tapered and then they get to a certain diameter in the middle, and then taper down again, and then get back. So it's kind of a 3-step process on this one long through bolt, and it's on every cylinder. So every cylinder. So now this one is a through bolt. These are just case studs that go no further than here. These go all the way through. So on the other side is through bolt for 2. There's 3 through. So and they share all the way back and forth until you get to the end, and you're on the number 6 here, and you got so these are the 2 through bolts. These are just the smaller studs. So the through bolt comes through on the other side, and it is right behind the oil cooler. That's the nut and washer on the through bolt to the other side for cylinder number 6. This is cylinder 5. So that's cylinder 1, 3, and 5. And every cylinder has 2 through bolts. All right, I think it makes clear sense now, huh? All right. Let me pull the piston off. Actually. First things first, let's put this down. The pin is hanging up. think the pin's bad too. We're gonna have to wait to drive that pin out. We're gonna have to get these cylinders out of the way and then get in here and tap this wrist pin out, because it ain't coming out. And if I get it to each side to it doesn't twist as much. But it's still twisted. But see the thing is, you can actually rotate the piston. I've never seen that. So there it's in its free float position, not touched. I mean, it rotates. Anybody ever seen a piston do this? They may end up shooting this thing in the head after all. There's the connecting rod. Let's get some flashlight action going there. Well, at a minimum, it's the bushing. The lifters look like they need to be lapped. That's the weight. The counterweight. Man, this engine has seen some combat action, is what I think. It may not, this engine block may not be recoverable. See, it's this, my camera's in the anyway, okay, I'll just go that way. Those counterweights definitely need to be looked at by someone qualified. Play. And that, boy, that counterweight system is sloppy. Hey, how you doing, little guy? Yeah, you telling me I need to pull it apart, huh? Well, the little birdie bug thing just told me that we got to take this engine apart. I listen to Mother Nature before I listen to man. No bueno. More no bueno. And so with this counterweight here that's on the crankshaft, it's not on the connecting rod, it's on the crankshaft. And what happens is that the torsional vibration of the prop and not having a load like you would have a car. So when you're driving a car, you always have a load on the wheels. But in an airplane, you don't. If you pull off or hit throttle or whatever, you get torsion twist real bad in an engine, vibration that can cause problems. So they put these free floating weights in here to act like a dampener on the front end of an engine, like that. You normally on the front of an engine you got a pulley dampener. This is an internal balancing system to be able to take a torsional load. And boy, that is just. And that's what I was concerned about. The main thing once I started really looking at how I knew this thing was going to have problems all along the way. The big thing was going to be for me was this. I don't know. It's got some wear and tear on her. There's some grind for sure. I just don't know what the tolerances are, but sloppy, drunk, loose probably not one of those tolerances. She dead. She died. So let's look at this. Whoop. Okay, good. Let's see here. Trying to get it to hook. Just doesn't want to hook. So we'll get the wrist pin in the middle. Okay, so the wrist pin's in the middle, like right where it has been operating. Oh, that's not working. Look at that twist in the wrist pin area. And the camera's not really picking it up, but there's a bushing in the middle of the connecting rod, and in there is a bushing. And at a minimum, that bushing is shot. You're supposed to have maybe almost where you can't even tell, almost where you can't even see it move. That's the limiting clearance, like 3/1000 of an inch. Everything at max is 6/1000 of an inch, and we're in 1/4 inches. Everybody else gonna be sloppy drunk too? Fuck. Sorry, my language, people. The reason I said it, I did the price check on all this stuff. Do her upright, I'm looking at $4 grand. And that's not counting pulling the engine apart. That's doing all this upright. Now we're gonna do this part, and there's gonna be $1,000 worth of crankshaft work. But better than my ass and flipped over upside down from an asymmetrical takeoff, and the thing gives it up. Wow. No bueno. Yeah, Mexican food sounds good tonight. Let's wrap this up. Call it a night. So now I gotta get Al out here as far as I can go, and I'm showing what I've done. was just spilling his guts when I was pulling it out. Exhaust valve looks somewhat uniform, but I can't tell how many cycles it's been on. But the valves look alright so far. I think this is just, do I see some hone pattern? I still see some hone pattern a little bit right there against the wall. Not much. She needs a new connecting rod, old bushing at a minimum, wrist pin, probably a piston, and then this just all cleaned up. Getting the cylinder head system given the treatment. See the rust around it, that needs a treatment. Well, that's mark number 1. How about that? I marked it up in the cylinder head. Yep. Connie must have been sketchy. He knew that this thing, because this is the original engine, and he just let it go to nothing. I mean, nothing. This is some in-the-field repair work that's turned into depot level maintenance. So see the number right there? That's 64. That's the year it was manufactured, September of 64. It's simple. I mean, it's not complex. It's just a matter of money. That's all it is. It's just a square root of money. But, I mean, that's on the joking side. But the reality is, you don't know what you got until you really tear it apart. Because this, I'll tell everybody right now on here, this engine was running great. When I did the run up with Connie, we taxied around, no problemo. Engine ran like a champ compared to the, so I mean, they both were running great. Both were running the same, both did the run up the same, did meg check, both no problem. Engine ran great. So this got to be 8. That's number 8 about, oh shit, it's about to go. There has been at least 8. I'm gonna have to document this when I get done. How many less than 50 hour I'm gonna kill yous were in this engine. Not the airplane. Airplane and I, we're good. It's this engine. It's this Continental thing that we got issues with right now. And we old girls got issues. She's been, this is 1964. I mean, come on. You've been sitting. But overall, it's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. Just needs, it's just a project. And I enjoy doing the project. What the heck? What I got better to do? Definitely don't want to chase women. That shit just gets you in trouble. Alright. Where there's one, there's another. But pulling these rods will be easy. That's not a problem. And the intent is, my intent before doing this was, like I say, to pull this engine in and do this engine mount and but was hoping just to pull the rods and put new rod bearings in and go from there, but she may need to go a little bit further. We'll see. All right, enough of this. I hope everybody picked something up that they all enjoyed, and I will talk with you later. The Red Baron needs your thoughts. Not your prayers. It's inanimate, but it could use your thoughts. All right, ciao.